Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing a story that completely changed my life. A story of betrayal, heartbreak, and sweet, undeniable revenge. I never imagined that the woman I loved would be the one to humiliate me in the worst possible way. My name is Adam, and a year ago I was in a place I never thought I'd be. Sitting in court listening to my own wife Claire smirk at me like I was nothing. She said it plainly, almost proudly. Finally free from that loser. Every word hit me like a knife right through my chest. My stomach churned, my hands trembled, and for a moment I felt utterly defeated. It all started with what I thought was a normal marriage. Claire and I had been together for 6 years. We shared dreams, bills, and an apartment in the city. I worked hard, often late nights, to make sure we had everything we needed. But over time I noticed subtle changes. She became cold, distant, and one day she even laughed at my suggestion for a small vacation, saying, "Why would I waste my time on this with you?" I brushed it off, thinking I was just imagining things. Then came the separation notice. Out of nowhere, Claire filed for divorce, claiming I was unsupportive and a failure. I begged her to talk, to reconsider, but she wouldn't listen. She was relentless, her words cutting deeper than I thought possible. The day we went to court, she strutted in like she owned the place, dressed perfectly, hair flawless, eyes gleaming with triumph. And that line, "Finally free from that loser," I will never forget it. The judge barely blinked, but I could feel every gaze on me, some sympathetic, some almost amused. For weeks after that day I spiraled. Friends offered advice, family tried to comfort me, but nothing worked. I had lost my marriage, my best friend, and my self-respect all at once. I knew I couldn't beg her back, and deep down, I knew I deserved better than someone who treated love like a game. But what kept me awake at night wasn't the pain. It was the burning desire to prove that her smirk was misplaced. I decided to focus entirely on myself. I poured every ounce of energy into my career. I had always dreamed of starting my own company, and now, without her constant criticism and negativity, I finally had the drive to do it. Days blurred into nights. I skipped parties, ignored calls, and dedicated myself to building something that was mine, something she could never touch. Months passed. Slowly, the small startup I launched began to take off. At first, it was tiny, just a few clients, some positive reviews, and enough income to cover my apartment. But I kept pushing, networking, learning everything I could. I attended seminars, met mentors, and in the process I discovered a side of myself I had never known. Ambitious, unstoppable, and fearless. One day I got the call that changed everything. My company had just secured a huge contract with a multinational corporation. The deal meant exposure, credibility, and enough revenue to expand rapidly. I felt an overwhelming mix of relief, excitement, and a hint of vindication. Claire had laughed at my stupid little ideas when we were together. Now they were paying off in ways she could never imagine. I kept the news to myself for a few weeks, enjoying my private triumph. But the universe has a way of delivering surprises. I ran into Claire at a mutual friend's event. She didn't recognize me at first. It had been months and I had changed, not just in appearance but in confidence. I was taller in my own skin, my posture sharp, my eyes no longer shadowed by fear or insecurity. She froze when our eyes met. There was a flicker of shock, then a flash of something else, regret, maybe even fear. She tried to greet me with casual words, but I could hear the hesitation in her voice. "Adam, wow, you look different." I smiled, a calm, measured smile, nothing fake. "Thanks, Claire. Life's been good." And then, almost unconsciously, I mentioned my company's recent achievements. The room was filled with her friends and colleagues, and I could see her jaw tighten as I casually dropped the numbers. Revenue, new clients, upcoming expansions. Her eyes widened, and for the first time in our history, she looked genuinely unsettled. After that night, I didn't need to say more. The news spread, my success became public, and the whispers reached her. Claire, who had walked into court smirking and confident, now had to watch from the sidelines as I thrived without her. Every social media post, every news article, every congratulatory message was a reminder that her loser had become someone she could no longer ignore. Months later I got a message. It was Claire. Simple, short, almost desperate. "Can we talk?" I stared at it, feeling a strange mix of amusement and satisfaction. I typed back calmly, "We already did in court." And that was it. I had no desire to revisit the past. The victory wasn't just in my career. It was in my peace of mind, in knowing I had rebuilt myself stronger, better, and without her toxicity. Looking back, I realized the court day that felt like my lowest point was actually the turning point. Her smirk gave me fuel. Her words gave me clarity. And her absence gave me the freedom to grow. I don't hold anger anymore. I hold power, confidence, and a life I am proud of. And if she regrets it now, that's her lesson, not mine. Sometimes the best revenge isn't confrontation. It's transformation. It's becoming everything they thought you could never be quietly while they watch from the sidelines. So if you're going through betrayal, heartbreak, or the sting of someone leaving you thinking they've won, remember this. Your comeback can be your loudest statement, and no courtroom, smirk, or insult can ever take that away from you.